Hey Gerald, so like you knew their length was gonna be a factor of the game. Do you think their length ultimately was just the biggest difference in the game?
Well, I think their good players was the biggest difference in the game. I mean, length is just one part of it. I mean, their physicality. I mean, our big. I'll be honest with you. Coming in with the transfer with Diney, and Diney will probably tell you, I don't think she's played against posts that are that physical, that skilled. I know the two freshmen that we tried to put in haven't. Alba got in foul trouble early, so that causes some problems. And then we're trying to maybe double down a little bit, and then their ability just to stand out and shoot the ball, which we were worried about. Let them get on a roll, and I think obviously they're deceptively athletic. So, like you said, their length bothers you, but they're also quicker than what they seem. And it just you think you have a lane. I would equate it to the running back who thinks there's a gap there, and they start to get to that gap, and then all of a sudden the athletic kid just closes that gap up, and that's what happened to us tonight. We tried to put the ball on the floor a few times, and by the time we would get there, it would look like it's there, and then it would close fast, and then by the time we got a kick out, they were already back to guard that. So yeah, there is a yeah they came and they played tonight. I'll be honest with you, they played like a top 20 team tonight.
The first quarter, in the first quarter, you guys only trailed by two after the quarter was over. What was the difference from first quarter to the rest of the game? Because you guys are playing well.
Yeah, that's what happens. The game's 40 minutes though. That's what we talk to our kids about all the time. The game's not 10 minutes. The game's 40 minutes. And once again, just to be quite honest with you, the better team won tonight. They just kept doing what they were doing, and they kept pounding inside. Alba got in foul trouble. We're throwing freshmen at their experienced kids, and that's the 40-minute game is is what happens. And what we got to do is we got to have our kids, our young kids, and our second rotations figure out how hard that they got to play and what they got to do every night, night in and night out, especially now starting with conference play. I mean, we go on the road now for two conference games, and it's not going to get any easier. Now, we're not going to see a team like that, but we're going to see a team that's athletic. We're going to see a team that's physical, and we're going to play on their home court. And we haven't over the years we haven't played real well down there, but it's like you said, yeah, you're right. The first 10 minutes we're right there. The problem is there was still 30 more minutes to go.
Do you think any part of that, Coach, had to do with the conditioning and still trying to play your way into shape a little bit?
I just think that I could say that that by now you got to get yourself into shape. We've had enough out. We've had enough time now that we should be in shape. I think a couple of our kids got excited. Looked like they were out of shape, but I think that first initial adrenaline just got so pumped up that when they running up and down a couple times, you just find yourself. It's like it's almost like you make yourself hyperventilate, and then after that it wasn't a shape issue. It was just once again we're playing not only two really good posts, we're playing two good backup posts, we're playing good perimeter players. Like I said, we tried to dig down with Tommy, and you know what? They were patient and kicked it out and hit three. So so then now we got to take our chance back with just getting beat by however many twos. I mean, when you look and go, okay, the Worth twins had 26 points. I mean, we don't have an answer for that, but you look all the way down. Everybody else was able to score, was able to be patient and do some things. We just it's a learning experience. Like I said, I knew it was going to be a tough game. I knew when I seen them on film it was going to be a challenge for us to defend their bigs and defend everybody else. It worked out that they executed like a top 20 team. That's the only answer I have for you. They played tonight like a top 20 team. They came in with a chip on their shoulder, and they played. So we got to learn. We got to learn to answer that, and that's what freshmen have to become sophomores, and sophomores have to become juniors to help with that.
Well, going based off of that, Coach, I mean, like, what is the biggest thing you learned from this? Calling this a learning experience, like, what is the biggest thing you learned?
You know, I learned that there's certain situations. You know, I thought that Paula gave us some good offense. I was happy with what Paula did. She did what we asked her to do. She was able to put the ball on the floor with her size, with her length. You know, but the problem is we know Paula right now, she struggles defensively and struggles with the rebounding end. So we know we have to work with that with her. It's not going to be an offensive problem for her because she was able to take the ball right at them. You know, learned basically also that, you know, we got to work on our two zone. I know we only ran it a couple times, but we were totally out of helter skelter when we were in our zone. You know, basically, I hope the biggest learning experience, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I won't know that. I hope the biggest learning experience that we take away from this is that when I meet with our players on Thursday, that when I talk to them, that they understand now that, you know, I'm not kidding them when I'm telling them, you know, what an opponent is about. That, you know, this is, I'm not kidding you. I'm not trying to overplay an opponent, and I don't underplay opponents. I tell them how it is. So I hope now that they understand that the level that they've got to prepare for in order to keep growing and learning to compete all throughout the rest of the year.
I'm good.
Coach, I got you know, one last thing for you, just turning the attention to UNLV. So, I mean, I asked Quinn. She said pretty much just turn the page immediately, start focusing on UNLV. How do you approach now getting ready for conference play?
Yeah, that Quinn's exactly right, and that's why she's a veteran and a leader. Is this is a loss, and you know, everybody goes, well, geez, you lost by 40. Don't matter whether you lose by 4 or 40. A loss is a loss. And so right now, what we got to do is we got to move on. We'll take tomorrow off, obviously, as a team. Like I said, they're in final weeks, so I got kids going home right now to study for finals tomorrow. But they got to come back. They got to come back on Thursday, plugged in to learn a whole new scout. You know that, and that's one of the hardest things I think that our young kids struggle with, is that, you know, from game to game the scout changes, personnel change, what you want to do changes based upon you know, certain sets or you know, certain players' abilities and how you want to defend that. And I think as young players, sometimes they have a hard time understanding that. You know, they just go, okay, well, this is kind of the same as last time. No, it's not. And so what we have to do is we have to do a good job of putting together a scout, understanding what we need to do, trying to make it simple enough so that everybody, not only just the young players, can figure out what we're going to do. And like I said, going to Vegas and, you know, put this behind us. If we're worried about this, you know, if I go home right now and worry about this one, then we're not going to be ready for Vegas. I can tell you that. So this is by the wayside. You look through film, find some good things, confirm some of the things you think you saw, and try to work on, and then just go forward.